Hello guys, welcome to yet another video. This is F1 with Mike, and this is my reaction to the free practice and qualifying session of the Monaco Grand Prix, 2024 Monaco Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's get into it. We just had a very interesting qualifying session. I never expected that. I never saw that one coming. But before we talk about the qualifying session, let me take you through the weekend. What happened on Friday up until today, Saturday, after the qualifying session. So I have notes because there's so much that has gone down. So, and I know if I didn't take notes, I would forget a lot of things because I watched my last video and I was like thinking, there were so many things I left out. But without further ado, let me not bore you with the details. Let me just go into it. So, in free practice one, I think the biggest surprise we saw there was the Ferrari in the hands of Charles Leclerc because in the hands of Carlos Sainz, you could see, okay, maybe he was doing okay. I mean, but the gap Leclerc had on everyone else on the grid is just it was just surprised, and I thought like, wow, where is he getting 6 tenths from? Like putting sometimes almost close to a second between him and the person in P2 or P3. So it was like quite exciting. I think if you're a Ferrari fan or a Leclerc fan, I think Friday was a very good day for you, 100%. Then another surprise, the McLarens. I predicted the McLarens to be the flop of the week. And to be honest, I got that one very wrong because the McLaren is looking good. Because normally tracks with slow speed corners, like it, it does not suit the McLarens. But it seems like they've worked on their car and everything is going well for them at the moment. So that's like a good surprise there. I'm happy to say that for them, like good for them. And then also at the end of the FP1 session, I think the Mercedes, I did mention in my video, the Mercedes will be better around here because slow speed corners, you don't need so much straight line speed and all of that. I mean, as I said, you're only on full throttle 40% of the time on the track. So, yeah, the Mercedes did, I think they ended the session, they ended FP1, P1, and P3. I think Hamilton P1 and George Russell P3. So, yeah, at the end of FP1. And Yuki as well, some decent, nice runs from Yuki. Yuki continued his fine from throughout the year. And also at Joe, I think the Sauber has just been meh the entire weekend, to be honest. So I think Joe clipped the wall, his front wing, and destroyed a part of his front wing, and yeah, that brought out the red flag because there was debris on the track on the racing line, so they had to bring out the red flag to clear it out. That didn't last long, but then also another thing that was surprising here: the Red Bulls. Oh my goodness. I'll get into that into qualifying at the end of the day. But the Red Bulls finished P11 and P12. Max Verstappen 11, Sergio Perez P12, and that was the end of FP1. There was nothing much that happened. And in FP2, for Charles Leclerc, he just continued. He just continued his beautiful form. Like he was just putting fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap. It was like he was at home at one with the track. And honestly, he didn't make any mistakes. And to be honest, one thing that surprised me again in this session was that a lot of drivers were taking huge risks. Like you would think it was a qualifying or a race session. Like it didn't make sense. Like there's no need for you to be taking all these risks. Come on. It's just practice, free practice. Go around, understand the track, look at where you can gain speed. And these guys were pushing completely. You would be like, you would think there was something that was on the line for them. But yeah, it was nice to see that even in FP2, these drivers were onto it. They were like trying to get the best out of the car and all of that. And then also, as I said, for Red Bull, Max Verstappen just kept complaining about the car bouncing. I think the Red Bulls need to bring some upgrades with their cars because, like, honestly, I think they're very lucky that at the beginning of the season they put the lead up that they currently have. Because if they came into the season the way they currently are, I don't think Max Verstappen will have been leading the championship by the amount of points he currently has. Honestly, they need to do something in that team. And also, yeah, in the second practice session, the Aston Martins came alive as well. I think Alonso had the car in P3 at the end of the free practice, the second free practice session. FP2 finish, I think, Leclerc P1, Hamilton P2, and Aston Martin P3, then Max Verstappen P4, and then Lando Norris in P5. So I think five different cars there. So it was nice to see. I thought to get more competitive from that point on. But then in FP3, that was this morning, that before the qualifying that happened, and I think most it was just business as usual, really. All the teams came out running soft tires. I mean, most of them were running their quality simulation, trying to put in the fastest lap they could do. I think I was a bit surprised seeing that Aston Martin coming out on mediums, but I think they were still doing some race simulation, maybe, I guess. But I think even them eventually, I think like 30 minutes into the session, they switched to soft tires and they started pushing. So that Q3 was just business as usual. I think the only thing was Valtteri Bottas and the other Sauber. He clipped the wall and like on one of the, I think close to the swimming pool corners. So he clipped the wall there and broke his front right axle, so he couldn't move the car. So the red flag was brought out, and yeah, that was the end of the session for him. But in general, nothing else happened. And then Max Verstappen, I think in a way he started coming along. Like he started getting the hand of the car very well. I think he finished the session in P2 just behind Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc, I mean, this weekend was just unbelievable, unbelievable. Like I think he's having his best weekend of the season so far. And what a place to have it! Like in his home race in Monaco. I mean, he's the only Monegasque driver on the grid, so no surprises there. And then into the qualifying session. Now, this is where things got a lot interesting because I don't know who the script writers are, but this script was well written. I don't. Let's get into it. So in Q1, the first qualifying session, Leclerc did not actually start very well because I was looking at it and I was like, why is he not topping the timesheets as he was doing free practice? You know, it was a little surprised. I didn't understand what was going on. I thought maybe the pressure was getting to him or something. But eventually he came along. He came along and he started putting on decent times. But then I don't think in qualifying in the first state in the first qualifying session, the biggest surprise there was Sergio Perez getting knocked out in Q1. He's starting tomorrow's race in 18th position. He was out qualified by Logan Sargent in a Williams. I I I have nothing to say. If I say something, I'll be fine. But this one, nah, I can't explain it. And also, my surprise driver of the week, Fernando Alonso. What happened? Alonso qualified P3 last year. Alonso is out in Q1 this year. I don't understand it. He was out qualified by Lance Stroll again. It doesn't make no sense. I mean, well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully, there'll be more jeopardy so these guys can. Because honestly, if there is no safety car and there is no rain, there is nothing Perez and Alonso can do about their position. At most, they will be maybe close to 11th or 10th, but that's it. So yeah, both Saubers out in Q1, 19th and 20th position. Perez out in 18th. Then Alonso in 16th, and then both Mercedes finished first and third. Like I think it was Russell P1 and Hamilton P3. I think PS3 was in between them. Yes, and then both Alpines also made it into Q2. I was not surprised about that because last year Ocon was on the. I think both of them were in the points last year in that on that track. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the car performed there very well. And then into Q2, I think into Q2 now you could see Max started gaining more confidence, like in the Red Bull. I think he finished that session. I think he finished Q2 in P2. Right? Yeah, I think he finished in P2, just behind Lando Norris. But anyway, yeah. So in Q2, it was business as usual. But then another big surprise here, you could see Albon in Q3 for the first into Q3 for the first time this year. Gasly into Q3 for the first time this year, and Tsunoda. Oh my God, Tsunoda just continued his fine form of appearing. I think this is his third consecutive race. No, third consecutive qualifying session where he has gotten into P3. I think that is like wonderful from Yuki. Honestly, it's sad. It saddens me that he's not even being considered for the Red Bull senior team at this point. Like, what else does he need to do? He's out at the moment. He's out qualifying Sergio Perez, the person that they brought into the team to like maybe compete with him, Daniel Ricciardo. He's mopping the floor with Daniel Ricciardo as well. So, what else does he need to do? I mean, I can't really blame him. If you've watched my previous videos, I think because he's maybe Honda as a sponsor That's why he's current. Some will say that's why he's currently even in like in any of the Red Bull teams. And because they're moving away from Red Bull, they're moving to Aston Martin. Maybe he might be going to Aston Martin. We never know. But then that's a long stretch because they will have Alonso and Stroll. Alonso has a contract now up to 2026. Lance Stroll, I don't see him going anywhere because even at the moment, like he is giving Alonso a run for his money. So I don't see where UK is going to in Aston Martin. But let's wait and see. I think with time in the season, when silly season goes into full swing proper, we'll know all about this thing. So yeah, and Gasly was so pumped at the end of this session, man. If you hear his radio, like let's go, let's go. I'm like, okay, Gasly. I mean, honestly, if you were him, coming into the coming into Q3 for the first time this year after what they've been through, because I think the first 2 or 3 races of the year they were always 19th or 20th in every race, so it was like it was a relief for him definitely. But the cars that were out in Q2 was both Hasses, Hulkenberg and Magnussen. They were both out in Q2. Ricardo was out, Stroll was out, and Esteban Ocon was also out in Q2. So as you see here, there's no surprise really. Like all these things, that's where things started to settle themselves out. There were both Ferraris, both Mercedes, both McLarens all made it into Q3. So now into Q3, I mean, I think by this time already we should know that what happened. Yeah. So the horrible day at the office continued for Red Bull. I think Max Verstappen, he actually came out in Q3 with the form he had from Q2, and I thought like, okay, this guy is gonna put in some decent lap time. Now he did his first and second run. I think he was like P4 at a particular time. But when he was going for his last run out of the first corner, I think he came in too quick. So he did hit the wall a bit. But I thought he should have carried on with his lap because the impact was not much. The car was not destroyed, nothing broke off the car. But he just slowed down. He didn't continue pushing. I'm like, what? Anyway, but the lap time he set earlier was good enough for him to finish P6. And so realistically, he should be starting the race in P6 tomorrow. So for Red Bull today, bad day at the office. Max starting P6, and Sergio Perez starting P18. Although I think Max might start the race in P5 because uh, Carlos Sainz did qualify P3. Although he's gonna get 3 place grid penalty for impeding. I think he impeded Alex Albon in Q1. Yes, I think he did. So that one, I think, except if he gets away with that from the stewards, but I don't see him getting away with that. That impeding is gonna get three place grid penalty. So that and the final classification, Leclerc was on pole. The second time in his career, he's on pole in Monaco. But then I am praying, I am hoping and praying that Ferrari does not mess up the race of Charles Leclerc tomorrow. Because the only thing that can stop Charles Leclerc tomorrow is Ferrari. And maybe rain. Maybe safety car. But there's all these are ifs and buts. But if the race should go like no safety car, no rain, the only person standing in the way of Charles Leclerc winning his home race for the first time in his career will be Ferrari. If they don't manage that strategy well, because nobody can overtake like that in like even Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen will be lucky if he's on the podium tomorrow. He will be very lucky because ahead of him you have. Let me give you the final classification for the top 10. You have top 10 Leclerc P1, Piastri P2, Sainz P3, Lando P4. How are you overtaking these guys? That's a lot of work. Then you have Russell P5. It's hard to overtake Russell too. Max P6, Lewis P7, Snowder P8, Albon P9, and Gasly P10. So that's the top 10 for tomorrow's race. And yeah, this is my review for the qualifying session. I hope tomorrow's race is going to be exciting. I mean, honestly, wow, I can't wait. I can't wait. Let's see what Verstappen can do. Maybe he can secure something for Red Bull tomorrow. I don't know if that will be possible, really, especially with the McLarens ahead of him. They're good on their tires, especially on the hards, on the medium. Listen, tomorrow's race is just one to watch, just to see what will possibly happen. Will Oscar Piastri get his first win in Formula One, like his first Grand Prix win, not because he has won a race, but it was a sprint race in Qatar last year. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'll be live for that one. I'll be having a watch along on my channel, so kindly join me. I would appreciate that. Yeah, so kindly like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care. Have a lovely weekend, guys. Bye. Peace.